Just a bit ago, we learned how to build out frequency. We want to head over to relative frequency. What percentage of the time did we observe the various responses? Now, this is pretty obvious, right? Because of the fact that we have 100 respondents. So 20 is the number of employees that said that they primarily walk to work. Well, 20 divided by 100 is 20%, and 25 divided by 100 is 25%. What I'm going to do is just move this over by 1. I'm going to put in relative frequency, and that doesn't show up all that nicely. So I'm going to go to text wrap, and now I've got relative frequency. It looks good. Follow the keystrokes here. Pay attention. I'm going to put equals. I'm going to click on the frequency associated with I walk, and I'm going to divide by, and I am going to put in dollar signs, and those dollar signs fix the value E8, like don't move down when I drag down. So I come up with 0.2, 0.25, 0.15, et cetera, et cetera. In this case, I'm just going to autofill. I will continue on with my border. We are seeing these as decimalized, and there's absolutely no problem with that. That is a perfectly legitimate way. Some people might prefer to see it in percentage terms. So I'm going to head up, I'm going to highlight, and then turn these all into percentages. In this case, I don't really need the decimal. I'm going to create this horizontal centering. I might decide to command bold. The point is all of these values are percentages. What I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to mix things up a little bit. I am only going to consider the first 67 employees. Well, if I want 67, remember, I'm actually starting at B2, not B1, so I better go to B68. Right now, I'm starting at B2, which is the first employee, and I'm going through the 67th employee. Well, if I drag down, what happens is it actually goes B3 to B69, which is not what I intended. This is the value of those dollar signs. So what I want to do is $B, $2 to $B, $68. And now when I put that in there, it says, no, keep the values the same. Don't float those values down. So it stays B2 to B68, which is indeed what I want. I'm going to click down all the way to the bottom. And here I'm going to sum up all the values. And I've got a little bit of redressing to do. I said the first 67 employees, and indeed, I've got 67. Now, we're no longer dealing with clean, easy numbers. So 14 out of 67 is 21%, and 17 out of 67 is 25%, and so on and so forth. It still adds up to 100%, but now the formulas have changed up a little bit. The relative frequency is still doing its job. It's still telling us what percentage of the time each of our values came up from those 67 respondents. The last column that is common to see on a frequency table is a cumulative relative frequency column. This might just be to drag over and then put in cumulative. We already get the text wrapping. Now, watch what I'm about to do here. For the first category, all I'm going to do is reference this first value. And so, hey, I've seen 21% of all of the responses so far by the time I see I walk. If I head over to I drive my own car, here's where things get a little interesting. What we're going to do is we're going to say equals, and then we're going to see what we've already seen, plus the new stuff that we're seeing for the first time. By the time I've seen I walk and I drive my own car, I now have 46% of all of the survey responses. And then from there, I can just drag down. 46 plus 18 is 64%, and so on and so forth. If you've done this correctly, if you've got a good cumulative frequency table, by the time you get to that final row, you should have accounted for 100% of your data. There are going to be powerful analogs to cumulative relative frequency as well as relative frequency when we get to probability distributions, probability mass functions, probability density functions. Developing a good, strong sense of how this stuff works is going to be massively helpful for you. And what we now have is a full-on frequency table. We have the categories of responses. We have the frequency with which we observed all of those responses. We have the relative frequency, which is just the percentage of the time that we saw each response. And then finally, we have the cumulative relative frequency. Each row, we are saying, hey, by the time I get to row 2, I have observed 46%, and so on and so forth, all the way to 100%. Job well done, guys.